There are a total of 7 traps in this movie. Let's talk about how to beat them all. Going on my YouTuber subscribers, Saw fans, like how you guys are having an amazing start to your Saw Patrol weekend, because Saw X is officially in theaters right now for the entire world to see. Back seeing it a second time, and I'm just like, yes. The traps, the glory, the jigsaw. Saw back on the big screen, back home. I love it. I said hardcore Saw fan, this guy right here, and I'm just like, it was just so good seeing not only, you know, the famous traps back on the big screen, but also seeing John Kramer's story and his character in the Saw front. This is like the John Kramer movie that we should have been got like almost 20 years ago, you know, back between like Saw 1 and 2, because this movie takes place a week or so. It doesn't say, but it takes place presumably after Saw 1, because, you know, John's been at this shit for like, okay, he's been at it for a while. But what about the traps in the movie? Well, the traps in this movie, like I wrote them down. I believe there's 7 of them, and holy God. Wait a minute, is it 7? I wrote it down, 4, 5, 6, 7. It is 7. 7 traps. So how do we beat these 7 traps in the Saw X movie? Let's talk about it one by one. What all the traps were, how to get through, and how could you beat it? Here we go. Let's talk about it. Saw X. First trap in the movie, more or less, is the eyeball suction trap that you saw in the trailer, shit like that. More or less, that one's kind of a dream trap, so it's kind of like, well, that didn't really happen in the movie, but is it still happen on screen? We're going to talk about the shit. So here we go. Well, let's trap involved this custodian, whatever. He was stealing from a patient that was on bed rest. Job caught one of that, so he straps him down in this like chair or something with these like, you know, suction tubes on his eyeballs, stuff like that. And he's also got these things, these like pulleys on his hand. So the name of the game is that, okay, you got like, what was it, 3 minutes, or was it 60 seconds or something? Well, no, still 60 seconds. At 60 seconds to like turn this dial with one hand, and every time you turn the dial on one, it's gonna crack a finger back. Yeah, do it 5 times, crack all 5 fingers, and you free yourself. That was a trap. Or you don't do it, and your eyeballs literally get sucked out of your skull. That's just instant death. Game over. All traps are winnable, so that one was kind of just like, I guess, kind of the easiest one. Just like turn the dial and just crack your finger. You can live without your finger. You can't live without your eyeball. So that trap was pretty easy. That's pretty beatable. That was a pretty nice way to kick the movie off. So fucks with that one. Next trap we got in the movie, I'm gonna dub this one, it was the knife hand bomb trap. How this trap started was, you know, we had a character who was pretty much taking John to, like, you know, the shitheads that stole his money, stuff like that. So when John got wind of, like, oh, this guy, the cab driver, was helping him out, it's time for him to be in a trap. The trap was that he was, again, in his warehouse, and he had, like, his hands were duct taped with these 2 scalpels or something like that, but on each hand he had like a bomb or something, like this like pipe bomb. The name of the game was, okay, look, you can either just let the timers on your pipe bombs go off and it's just gonna blow your arms off and shit, you'll be dead. Or the pipe bombs were like strapped to his arm and shit, he had to cut through the flesh of his arm to like cut him off. And at first it was kind of just like, it was a little confusing the way John kind of worded it, because I'm thinking like, did he have to cut his like own arms off at the fucking elbow? No, he just had to cut enough into the flesh of his arm to just like kind of, I guess, pull the wires off the bomb, just slip off his arms. And he, miraculously enough, he passed that trap. So again, another person. So he was the first person to survive a trap in this movie. So again, traps are winnable. Well, even though that one probably hurt like hell, I think that was the best way to go about that, because there were no other ways. Like, his hands were mobilized, and he could not, like, you can't use your hands, and you only got like a minute before these bombs go off. That's the only way to do it. So that was the second trap in the movie, and I thought that one was clever. A couple of traps all happened to the 4 shitheads that, you know, stole John's money and stuff like that while we're watching the movie. First chick, she was in a trap called the wire neck trap. How this trap worked more or less was that, okay, John had put the key to this trap into her leg. He had like a dotted line in the leg, stuff like that. So the game was, she had to take this, like, I think some type of wire or something like that, and she had to like saw her leg off to, there's more. She had to saw her leg off. The leg just fell on the ground, and she had to take a tube to suck the blood and the key out of her leg to disarm the trap. Otherwise, she didn't do that in 3 minutes. The super razor wire was gonna like move backwards, and then it was gonna cut to her flesh, cut to her vertebrae, and then cut her neck off. And that's what happened. That trap was kind of like, again, The main reason all these traps were beatable is because everybody going forward, they had 3 minutes to get out of their traps. And this one, I kind of felt like, even though it would have hurt like hell, he had a chance to get out of it because all she had to do was there was a moment where it's like she was panicking, stuff like that, but then she ended up, doing this, and the leg came off. So if it wasn't like her panicking for like 10, 20 seconds, she could have just cut her leg off, sucked the key out, disarmed the trap, and that would have been it. It's a Saw movie, so we're not here to see people we care about survive. We're here to see people we don't care about get fucking massacred. And she got her head cut off. Just love a girl who gives you head and then lets you keep it. Next trap, this one's probably my favorite and the most gory one you saw in the trailer, stuff like that. This trap involves the shit. Well, they're all shitheads, but this trap, more or less, okay, here we go. But the dude was strapped into this, like, electric kind of, like, head trap or whatever. It's a Saw movie. You gotta have a head trap. The name of his game was that dude with his camera pointing down at the top of his head. So he had to take a scalpel and he had to cut a piece of his brain, his skull open, like, yeah, we're going back to Saw 3 with this one. Cut a piece of his brain open and put the brain matter onto this, it was like some acid or something, but the brain matter was gonna dissolve enough to, again, disarm the trap. So pretty much just take a piece of your brain out and put it into the scale and disarm the trap. You had 3 minutes to do it. This one I will kind of say teeters on the line of like, if this unwinnable or not, because you're literally asking somebody who is very conscious to cut a piece of their skull open and then pluck a piece of their brain out and put it on the thing. You got 3 minutes to do this, mind you. 3 minutes in the movie feel like 5 minutes, but like 3 minutes like real time. You be thinking like, okay, I got 3 minutes till you realize like, and 1 minute has gone by, and you're like, you're not even like, you haven't even worked up the courage to cut your shit open. That one, like, I don't even know how I get out of that one. That one would have been my, like, yeah, I'm coming home, Elizabeth. That trip after that one, it involves Gabriella, the druggy girl, stuff like that. One Amanda was close with. Her trap was what I'm going to call the radiology trap because it involved her being strung up in the air, and she had this, like, I want to say it was like, I guess it was like the heat from how they do x-ray stuff like that. It was blowing onto her. It was literally still in her face. So what she had to do was take a hammer while she's hanging up in the air, one chain on this arm, one chain on her leg, and she had to smash her ankles, and she would have been free. Again, that one, that could have went south so fast, because if she dropped the hammer that she's using to bang her shit in, then she just would have died. She just would have got burned to death. She just would have melted. And the thing was, she did get free till our asshole bitch, the main chick who's behind this whole operation, she ends up killing her to hammer home the fact that she is a bitch and we want to see her die. It was a shame she won her game, but she ended up dying anyway, even though I'm kind of just like, John did make the attempt, but oh, she needs an ambulance, go save her. So, hey, John, kind of help a little bit. We get to the penultimate trap in the movie, more or less. It was to trap the main girl, the main asshole head of the whole operation she was in. But she didn't go into it. She kind of forced John and his other little kid to get into it. And I was going to call this one, we're going to call it the blood balance board trap. Here's how it works. Two people strap themselves in, one end on the board, and it goes up in the air. It's kind of like a balancing board. But there's a lever that each player has. So one player pulls a lever and it makes their half go this way. And there's tubes that come down and blood is going to like come down their face to pretty much drown out. The only way to win that game is for like the other person to like pull the lever so that it goes the other way. So the blood stops on this player's side and it goes to that player's side. And it's just like kind of like a in the same vein of the little buzzsaw trap from Saw 3D. That one was interesting, even though, like, in the execution, I was kind of just like, when you're watching the movie, you understand what I'm talking about. In the execution, I was kind of just like, that trap could have went bad, so bad for you, John. So luckily, movie magic, you got out of it, and I'm happy. And then there was the last trap in the game, which is, I'm not even calling it a trap. It's kind of like a death room, because John, his contingency plan, shit like that. He had a gas chamber in the room that he was in, because the two last shitheads were there. And the name of the game was this. Next 10 minutes, this room was going to fill up with some type of like toxin or acid or something like that. And there was a little hole that you could put your head in to breathe in clean air. However, only one person could do it, and there's two people, so who's going to be the odd man out? You watch the movie, you can guess. Like, Yeah, you can guess. No, pretty much all the traps we got in the movie. There is a post-credit scene I'm going to talk about right now. You ain't seen the movie. Well, we're spoiling the shit. So here you go. Movie ends with the black dude who initially got this whole shit going, and he's in the bathroom trap from the original Saw movie. Nice callback. Who's there with him is John and Hoffman. Yes! I've seen Hoffman since Saw 3D. He's been a long time fan favorite of mine. Fan favorite to everybody, so it's good seeing Hoffman back after almost like fucking 10 years. See him again, and more or less he had the black dude strapped up to this like trap or whatever that's gonna like cut his insides open or something. I don't know. It was a post-credit scene trap, so if they do Saw 11, then maybe we'll see it then. Those are all the traps and how to beat them, more or less, in my opinion, that were in Saw X. I felt like Saw X definitely a nice return to form for the Saw franchise. A good story, good seeing John in the forefront, good seeing the characters we love, and people, you know, dying in the most gruesome, crazy way possible in those plot twists. Gotta love it. Saw X officially in theaters now. You're gonna see it, you're not gonna see it, type below, let me know, talk about it, what are your thoughts. See you guys in the next video, because it's about to be October and all type of spooky shit's about to happen. So we're gonna watch it. As always, subscribe. Until next time.